As much as some of us like to believe that we don't care that much about the words that people say, or we're not sensitive to what people say about us, the fact of the matter is, if you're a human being and you have any kind of emotional capabilities, you care about what people say about you. And you care about what people say about the group that you identify with, whether that's physically, philosophically, I don't know, economically, racially, religiously, however. So, with that being said, it kind of makes sense that the cancel culture will exist in full effect as it is now. And the reason why I'm making this video is because of what happened to Nick Cannon. So, Nick Cannon said some things about the Jewish community that a lot of people did not appreciate. I'm not going to say whether it's the real thing, it's true or false, or it's history or made up or something he should have said or shouldn't have said. My video is not about that. If I'm not well versed on a particular subject matter, I'm not going to just, begin to make statements about it. So I'm not going to talk about what he said specifically. I may or may not link it in the bottom if you want to listen to what he said. But anyway, the bottom line is he said some things about a particular community that a lot of people did not appreciate. He also referred to melanin and people that do not have it, and in other words, he talked about other groups besides the Jewish community as well, and I believe that all of that factored into what happened to him afterwards. Basically, he was fired by Viacom CBS, and he, as a result, lost his show on MTV, Wild 'N Out. If you guys remember, in 2019, I believe, Steve Harvey also lost his show. Was it 2019 or was it early this year, 2020? I don't remember when exactly. But anyway, he was also fired by his network, and that was as a result of not hate speech, but I guess there was some disagreement with their contract or whatever. My point is, these established celebrities are being fired left and right like nobody's business because they don't own the platform that they're expressing themselves on. I would like to say this. If you want to experience true freedom, if that's a thing, or if you want to get as close to freedom as possible, and I'm talking to everyone, not a particular race, because we're all we're not exactly free. In the world that we live in, we're just not, okay? As a human being living amongst other human beings, whether rules, regulations, laws, prisons, you're not free. So the closest you can get to being free is owning your own things. You have to own your own stuff. Ownership it should be everyone's number one goal. Like, once you reach that adult age of 21 or 18 or whatever, depending on where you live, you need to begin thinking about owning your stuff. You need to own your source of income. You need to own the place that you live. You need to own the platform where you express yourself. You need to, if you can't possibly own all of these things, but you need to own something. It doesn't have to be fancy, luxurious, but it needs to be your own. And the reason why ownership is so important is because as long as you do not own, for instance, in Nick Cannon's situation here, as long as you do not own the platform where you're expressing yourself, you cannot say everything that you want to say. You can't just say things, okay? Because the people that own the platform have a duty and responsibility to other people besides yourself, and besides the group of people that you identify with. They they have a responsibility to cater to many other groups besides yours. So if what you're saying does not coexist peacefully with the other groups, they are going to have to remove you. Owning the platform where you express yourself is more difficult than it sounds, because I mean, think about it. What platform can you really own these days? You don't own your Instagram. They can shut you down anytime. You don't own your YouTube channel. They can block you, remove you anytime. You don't own your Facebook, because the same thing can happen over there. So now imagine if you own your own website and you have a large crowd, a lot of traffic, and you say things, whatever you want to say. Google can still ban you. Google or whatever other platform, a search engine that is being used, is owned by a group of people, and they can still remove you. If you notice, you may have visited some sites where, I mean, you may have typed some things in the Google search bar, and at the very bottom of the page, you may have noticed where it says some results have been omitted due to violation of blah blah blah. So Google can remove your website. Like, they can make it disappear. So it's very, very, very difficult to own the platform where you express yourself. And with that being said, knowing that you do not own the platform, and you do not have the real freedom to really express yourself in the way that you want to express yourself, it is then up to us who use these platforms to learn how to communicate effectively with other people and get our messages across in a manner where it will not be perceived as malicious or negative. And it is okay. It is okay to choose your words carefully. I don't understand this mentality of you have to be real, and being real means you shouldn't take people's feelings into consideration and just say whatever comes to your mind exactly the way it comes to your mind. That's not, in my opinion, that's not being real. That's being immature. There are ways that you can communicate with a person and get your message across where both parties are able to listen, and they don't have to accept it, but they will listen and have a discourse, and it will not lead to somebody being banned or losing everything that they've worked for. Because at the end of the day, if you lose your access to these platforms, what good can you do if that is your main way of reaching people? So you need to be able to stay on these platforms, as many platforms as possible, which means you have to learn how to communicate. We need to learn how to communicate. Communication has gone out of the window these days, because I don't know why. I don't know. Everybody's trying to be real, I guess, quote unquote real. But we need to learn how to communicate and just say things in a way that will not make someone else feel like you're tearing them down. There's so many ways to communicate in a way where you can get your message across. It will be received very well, and you don't lose your audience, and it'll be more effective even. So it's really unfortunate what happened to Nick Cannon. I'm not a fan of Nick Cannon for other reasons, but some people like him and they listen to him, and he just needs to learn how to talk to people. He needs to learn how to talk about other people, because if saying certain things can hurt his feelings, then he needs to understand that him saying certain things can hurt other people's feelings. And he can't just expect to stay on a person's platform and just say whatever he wants to say, regardless of how it makes other people feel, and not suffer any consequences. There is a very high level of intolerance these days because everybody has had enough, and now people are free to demand that people be held accountable for the things that they say, because we all know words can cut like a knife. As much as we like to say we're not sensitive to what people say about us or we don't care, we all care. That's just the truth of the matter. So if you don't want to be spoken to in a certain way, or if you don't want to be made to feel a certain way by what people say, then don't do it to other people. That's not to say that you shouldn't say the things that you have in mind to say. You can still say it. Just find a better way of communicating it where the other party does not feel torn down. That's all I've got for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.